I think Red Bull was invented for days like this in the Champions League. Now, I don't need goals to be constantly excited when it comes to the world's best competition, in my view, club competition. But today was a dreary affair, lads. You'll probably agree with me or disagree, but I'm entitled to my own thoughts, and today was dreary. It was a tough game to watch on both sides. I had both of them up on the computer screen. Manchester City facing Dynamo Kiev with a 3-1 aggregate advantage. Confident going through. 0-0 it ended. But the talking point for that game, before I get on to what is happening or what's going to happen with PSV and Atleti, Manchester City now face a struggle. They have a tough fixture of games coming up. They want to try and secure top four, I would imagine, at this point, and they now may have to do it without their two starting centre-backs. So the game, as it took forward, Vincent Kompany just looked as if he was doing a standard defensive movement, tracked back, tried to clear the ball, and immediately, we've seen this 13,785 times already with Vincent Kompany, is that he knows when it's a problem. So he just looks over to the bench, says, I want a sub. He goes off. Mangala comes on. A sore sight for Manchester City fans. No one wants to see Mangala come on. Let's be honest here. Otamendi does the exact same thing. He goes down with a tackle. I think his ankle looked as if it was in some sort of trouble. And now he goes off and Demichelis comes on. So now you're left with a misfit back two who we've seen play together and just cannot work well together. Mangala and Demichelis, they're now going to be Manchester City's defensive partnering in there. That's the main talking point from this Champions League game. Aguero looked sharp. He looked as if he was getting onto the ball a lot more. He looked a little bit more confident, but still could not turn the ball into the back of the net. The positives to take away is that Manchester City didn't concede. They didn't make it hard for themselves. They understood that this game was already out of sight, which I believed it would, but I think the Man City home fans would have wanted a victory nonetheless. So Aguero, the specific movement in the second half that stands out to me is one of the best chances. He hunts the ball down, low centre of gravity, nice Cruyff turn, and then it's just a poor weighted pass in behind for David Silva, who could not convert. He was taken off again at the end. I think it was just as a preservation, try to keep those world-class players that they have fit and ready to go. But that's the question I want to ask the Manchester City fans. That's what this clip is all about. It was a dreary day. That's the only word I can describe it, in both legs of the Champions League, with Atleti's game going on as well. But how are Manchester City going to bounce back? Could this completely mess up any chance they have at success? So we're looking at them top four. Is that considered success? Because the league's out of bounds for me. I think that's just not obtainable for Manchester City. Champions League is a long shot. You need to have a Bradley Cooper American sniper if you think that's a realistic shot for Manchester City. But going far could be considered a success. I mean, it's just trying to weigh up the positives at this point. Without their captain, Vincent Kompany, we've seen how bad they can be at the back. And without the second string, Otamendi, who I don't even think is that good, but can be acceptable at times. Without both of them, they're left with two below par centre-backs. Their season could be hanging in a balance. It's hard to tell how it's going to plan out. Today wasn't as encouraging, but they got the job done. 0-0 Manchester City go through. As far as Atleti versus PSV, it was a standard chess match as we expected as well. Tough game. Both managers went out to try and nullify each other's game plan, and it worked well, but it just nullified the game altogether. So it ended up going to penalties. Atletico Madrid emerge victorious. They go through to the next round of the Champions League. I'm sure Diego Simeone will breathe a sigh of relief for that going through, because they were the favourites to go at this point. PSV frustrated Atleti in the first leg and closed them down enough to pose a good chance for them to go through, and they were unlucky again, having to go out on penalty kicks. It's a harsh reality, but that's the Champions League for you. Looking forward to the draw on Friday. Looking forward to tomorrow. Sorry, what am I talking about? Arsenal-Barcelona tomorrow. Can't wait.